This love is ill. I wish that it was different. Don't know what it is that made us so indifferent.
Hello everyone and welcome to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. This is round number 5, season 10 here at Ahvenisto Race Circuit. Our first layout here, so it is layout A, and we had a wonderful qualifying session yesterday where we had some super high scores across the board. We can even pull up those top qualifying scores from yesterday. Alan qualifying first with that 97.7, Brandon Patrick with the 97.2, and then Nico Stalea 96.5 on that board. And as you can see, 90s literally all the way down, all the way to, what is that, the 40th qualifier there. And then we had our last 16 battles yesterday as well, which led to our top 32 bracket here today for round number 5. So we'll start with the left hand side of the bracket there and then work our way down the right hand side. But before we do that, if you missed qualifying yesterday, here is today's line map. Start of the course on the left hand side of your screen and down a short run up where drivers will enter into a DSO where they'll pick up throttle around the end of that rumble strip and head on into their first inside clip at clip number 2. Back out to the outside for clip number 3 where they're heading up a small little hill, and then transition across the track one more time there at clip number 4, your next outside zone and your next decel area, picking up throttle, leaving the outside around where that rumble strip ends and heading back down the hill and back towards your next inside clip at clip number 5, and then back out to the outside for 6 and down the hill some more at clip number 7 and your next decels area. So this one, you can see it's a half major decel, half minor decel. And what that means is once the drivers have rotated there for clip number 7, they're allowed to use all their tools that they can, their foot brake, their hand brake, help get the car rotated if needed as well. But once they've kind of settled in, it's really meant to just be a float and then pick up throttle there at the end of that rumble strip. Head on down the hill once more. We do have an inside reference point as well, which is kind of a marker for a new track edge for that lead driver. We want to see them stay on the outside of those reference points where we have another one in our final turn. But before that, clip number 8 at the bottom of the hill there, filling all of that using these outside rumbles. Clip number 9, another very small minor decel area, picking that throttle back up, and as it's kind of a late apex here through the final turn at the inside reference point that is between that clip number 9 and 10, and then back out to the outside, finishing the course on the outside. It's been quite a tricky layout, very fun, rewarding when you get it right. But again, we've got top 32 coming right up. We'll go to that Stargate. Drivers still getting in a little bit of practice runs before we send them off. We'll take one more look at that bracket for today. Again, starting on the left-hand side, we'll start with Alan Hines and Victor Lacheris, Russell Jones and Jordy Lopez, Brandon Gardner and Steven Hatcher, Ethan Minima and Lucas Pasquini, all in this first group of the top 32. Judges calling for their last set of runs, or we again bring Alan and Victor to the line. Take your screenshots if you'd like to as well to follow along on this bracket. We'll pull it up in between these groups. So Alan and Victor at the line, ready to go for our first battle, round number 5. Just one more round after this. The season is super close. Just 44 points separating first through 7th heading on into this round. Here's Alan out front leading Victor Lacheris, firing off, grabbing that inside clip. We want to see those lead wheels of that lead driver in the middle of the boxes there, and then staying off these inside rumbles. Nicely done down the hill for 6 into 7, and Victor taking advantage of the clean lead out front from Allen. Final transition here into 9, and a small little dive there from Victor, a little bit on the inside of the pocket and across the finish line for the first time here today. Let's take another look. And Allen out front here on the replay. Very clean to start things out. A little bit on the inside is Victor, sacrificing a little bit of that line here as well. He's staying with him. Small angle correction there in 6 from Allen, then heading down the hill from Victor. Smooth on the transitions, filling these zones, running the right lines out front. Victor, I think, taking advantage. Very smooth. Back at the line, Victor now to lead our number 1 qualifier, Allen Hines. And Victor battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles yesterday. What he can do here out front. Nicely done on the inside clip. Out to 3 now as well. Allen making a dive here. Finding himself in the pocket a little bit better through here, and Victor not quite using the rumble strips on 6. You want to see them use these outside rumble strips, heading on down the hill, using it there for 8. Final transition with Allen right there in tow, almost making some contact there in the final turn. There they go, crossing that finish line. Back to the replay here with Victor out front. Nice snappy initiation from him. Good angle through turn number 1, and all of that rumble there for 3 as well. And getting a little bit too far on the inside of that inside clip, and then not quite make it out to 6. Really kind of taking away a lot of width of the track using that line, and cleanly cross that finish line. We'll go to our judges for the first time today here for round number 5's main event. Allen Hines on the left, Victor Lacheris on the right. Overall, a clean battle between these two. Little things here and there. We'll move on into the top 16. Got Chris and Ed going left for Allen Hines. Carl wanted it one more time. That'll give the win to Allen Hines with that split call, and we'll see him in the top 16. Good job from Victor Lacheris, again battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles yesterday. We've quickly got Russell Jones and Jordy Lopez at the line, waiting ready to go. Our 16th qualifier and our 17th qualifier. It'd be a good battle here. Very similar scores in qualifying. See what they can do here in the first half. Early initiation from Russell, making it work, getting around that inside clip, heading on out to 3 a little bit early there. Seeing a little puff of dirt, now heading on down the hill with Jordy in tow. Right along the bumper for the transition, making a dive. Heading on down the hill. Filling 8. And 9 as well. Jordy now getting aggressive in the chase position. Last and final turn and across the finish line. Quickly back to the replay at early initiation. And making it work a little bit on the inside of that first inside clip. See a little tire drop there in 3, but now heading on down the hill. Nice and smooth here. Getting away from Jordy a little bit. Pretty matching the line and angle nicely in that chase position though. And there's the aggression and the dive. Oh, back to the start gate. for the second half of their battle. Jordy now to lead. Russell Jones to chase. And initiating in. This is smooth, leaving one a little bit early, but nicely done on the inside clip. Not quite getting out to the rumble for 3, using it on 4 though, and heading on down the hill. Good line across that inside clip, using the rumble there at 6, making his transition, and Russell getting aggressive. Jordy a little bit too far on the inside there, heading on down the hill, grabs 8, grabs 9 as well. Final turn with Russell right there in the pocket, and across the finish line. Good. Back to the replay. Almost late on that initiation, but again, seems to put his lead tire in the middle of that box now, heading on down the hill. Tiny little wobbles. Russell sacrificing a little bit of line there through the inside clip. Here, very close to being on the inside of that reference point. Auto transition across. Go finishing it out. We'll go to our judges here. Russell Jones on the left, Jordy Lopez on the right. We have a winner. One go on into the top 16, or will they line back up for one more time? And a split call again. Russell Jones getting the win. Chris and Ed going left for Russell Jones. Carl went right for Jordy Lopez, and that'll put Russell Jones into the top 16, where he's got to face Alan Hines. Up next, Brandon Garner and Steven Hatcher. Brandon qualifying 8th position, and Steven Hatcher qualifying 25th. Brandon Garner will lead. He will give chase. Brandon in his Boundless Racing E36. Steven returning in the S13. Said he's been super happy with it this season. Here they go. Firing off, getting around that inside clip, a little bit wide of it as Brandon, but grabbing 3. Nicely done on 4, and Steven over rotates into 4. Now heading down the hill, Brandon filling 7, still on a good lead, and there's Steven back into the fight quickly. Filling 8. Good final transition with Steven, almost pushing him across that finish line. Wow. Take another look here. Initiating in, filling 1. Just barely. It's really close there on that inside clip, and yeah, just a big over rotation from Steven Hatcher there in that chase position, and huge dive there, sacrificing a lot of line, of course, but he does get back into the fight. Almost making contact, maybe making contact. Let's go back to the start gate for the second half. Anything can still happen here. Steven will now lead Brandon Gardner. Even initiating in with a bunch of angle, getting around the inside clip and filling 3. Snappy on his transition. Picking up that throttle on time. Looks to be staying off that inside rumble and looking good down the hill here. Brandon still applying a ton of pressure in that chase position, right on the bumper for the final transition. And heading on out to clip number 10. Take another look here. Yeah, Steven out front in the second half of their battle. Brandon giving chase. done on the transition heading on down the hill. Seems to stay off that inside rumble, getting pushed a little bit there in 6, I think, as well. Again, we want to see drivers use the outside rumbles, especially 4, 6, and 7. Really opens up the line there. And they go crossing that finish line. So, we've got Brandon Gardner on the left, Ethan Hatcher on the right. Winner goes on into the top 16. Chris goes left for Brandon Gardner. Ed and Carl, so a unanimous decision from all 3 of those judges. Brandon Gardner getting the win. Our last set of battles here in the first group, Ethan Minima and Lucas Pasquini. Ethan to lead first, Lucas to give chase. Oh, Ethan initiating in almost late. Makes it work. Grabs that inside clip. On a good line here through the first half of the course, heading on down the hill now. Filling 6, 7 as well. Picking up that throttle on time with Lucas. Right in the pocket here. Right along the bumper for the final transition, putting it on the door, matching the angle nicely as well. There they go. Finishing out the first half of their battle. Here on the replay. Good to film that first outside zone. Next one as well. Again, clean line out front from Ethan. And just switching chassis from the E36 to the 86. Heading on down the hill now with Lucas. Again, right in the pocket, matching the line and angle nicely. Good dive there. And across that finish line. They'll head on back to the start for the second half of their top 32 battle. And last battle in this group, where we load up the next. Lucas to lead. Ethan Minima. Lean through the chicane. Lucas filling all of outside zone number 1, and a good line through that first inside clip out to the next outer zone. Big angle there through 4, heading on down the hill. It looks to stay off the inside rumble as well, using it 4, 6, and 7. Good line. Heading on into 8. Ethan taking advantage right along the bumper as well. Sacrificing a little bit of angle to stay there with Lukash, but keeps it the same all the way through. Take another look. Very good line through that turn number 1. Turn number 2 as well. Look at there, Ethan right in the pocket, matching that line and angle very nicely through 6 into 7. Now falling back just a little bit, but gets back into it. Right along the bumper here, making that dive. Not quite matching it, but again, wasn't wavering at all back there in that chase either. So, to the judges, Ethan on the left, Lucas on the right. Tough battle between these two. They are heading right for Lucas Pasquini. Lucas gets the win here in the top 32, and he'll move on to face Brandon Gardner. We'll take a look at our bracket here while we load in our next group of drivers. So Alan Hines gets the win. He'll face Russell Jones in the top 16. Brandon Gardner also getting the win, and he'll face Lucas Pasquini in the top 16. But up next, Victor Alves and Cameron Mustard, Mustafa Amin and Maxime Tingai, Reese Tatterson and Abdurrahman Al-Shetwi, Deacon Pileski and Daryl Diaz coming up next. All right, last call from those judges, and we let those groups load in and get a couple of practice runs in, make sure all their equipment is working correctly. As all of this doesn't come without some of its issues. All right, Victor Alves and Cameron Mustard coming to the line. Victor Alves to lead. Cameron Mustard to give chase here in the top 32. Using all of the rumble there. Out front is Victor Alves. Getting out to 3 just a little bit early and hanging on to 4 a little bit long. He ends up grabbing a little bit of that inside clip. Whoa, and really falling out of angle there through 6. Now heading on down the hill. Cameron's still there, right along the bumper. Small little dive. Starts to match the angle nicely, and there they go. Across that finish line. Take another look on the replay. Good initiation. Just getting out to 3, just a little bit early, and a little puff of dirt there on the back of 4. There we see the big fall out of angle, leaving 6, heading on into 7, making creating a little bit of a gap there between him and Cameron, but Cameron dealing with it nicely, getting right back into the pocket. They go across that finish line. They head on back to start for the second half. All right. So Cameron Mustard now out front. Our 29th qualifier. Well, a little bit outside of that, he also battled his way through. Take a look here. Cameron out front. Victor chasing him down. Good line through turn number 1, heading on out to 3, getting there a little bit early as well, but not late on 4. Missing the inside clip, getting all the way out there for 6, but not quite using the rumble on 7, and really pulling a gap here on Victor Alves. Victor trying to make up for it here in the last and final turn, reeling him in, and he meets his door there at the finish line. Having another look here on the replay. Smooth on the rotation into outside zone number 1. Just barely a little puff of dirt there. See Victor sacrificing a little bit of angle in that chase position. There, big separation. Slow to rotate as well in that chase is Victor. Then not quite filling 8 really at all back there in that chase. Sacrificing some angle there to get back into the fight. We'll go to those judges. Victor Alves on the left, Cameron Mustard on the right. Do we have a winner here in the top 32 between these two? All right, so we do have a decision here. We got a one more time from Chris. Ed and Carl go right for Cameron Mustard. Cameron Mustard gets the win here in the top 32, heads on into the top 16. So up next, Mustafa Amin and Maxime 10 guy. Mustafa qualifying 13th, Maxime qualifying 20th. Yesterday's qualifying. Mustafa to the lead. The lights are on. They're off for their top 32 battle. Mustafa initiating in. Good angle through there. Maxime right along the bumper for that first transition. Now heading down the hill, staying off that inside rumble is Mustafa out front. Good transition. Whoa! Awkward there. Almost I thought he hit the wall there behind him. Not sure what that was. They continue on like it didn't even happen, heading on out to the final outside zone. We'll go back to the replay. If you go to our link tree as well, you can find our Discord right at the top there. If you click the Discord icon, we go with that replay right along the bumper. Is Maxime, good line, heading on down the hill, filling all of 6, getting all the way out to that rumble as you should there. Just different kind of correction, I guess. Yes. So back to the start gate. Maxime to now lead through the tricky course. Maxime back in that E36. Mustafa in the Altezza. And good initiation. Using all of the rumble, but really tight to the inside. And we've got some contact there as well. Again, we want to see the lead wheel in the middle. My goodness, more contact right along the bumper there. Through that transition as well. Final transition. Mustafa being super aggressive here in this chase. And across that finish line. Take another look. And really tight to that inside. A little bit of contact there from Mustafa as well. More contact there. Heading down the hill. You know, maybe not quite letting him transition as well. Bit hard to tell. Another big dive. Possibly some more contact there in the final turn. And we'll go to our judges. Mustafa on the left. Maxime on the right. And there it is, a unanimous decision. Maxime Tingai getting the win over Mustafa Amin here in the top 32. So he'll move into the top 16 where he'll face Cameron Mustard. Up next, Reese Tatterson and Abdul Rahman Al Shetwi. Reese going up and qualifying 5th yesterday in the Team Heinze RTR Mustang. Good to see him back. Was having some GPU issues and it's gotten a new one. See what he can do here in battles for round number 5. Again, Reese out front. Abdurrahman Al Shetwi to give chase. Big initiation from Reese. Heading on out to 3 now. Abdurrahman right on the bumper, right in the pocket of that Mustang. heading down the hill now. Filling 6. Good transition into 7. Ooh, and we've got some big contact before getting to 8. Back into it. Final turn and across that finish line, filling that final outside zone. Let's take another look. Again, on today's line map, that decel area at 7 ends right at the rumble strip behind them. It's on that lead to pick up the throttle before then. Right at it. Let's take a look. Gonna be close. Continue on and crossing that finish line. They head on back to the start. Could also go shared as well if they think that we was coming in a little too hot. But they're back at the start for the second half. Abdurrahman out front, Reese in that chase. Not quite filling all of 1, and maybe a little bit wide of that first inside clip, but grabbing 3. Big angle on 4, heading to the inside clip. Reese being aggressive. Ends up a little bit on the inside, but goes to correct and falls back into the pocket just a little bit of an awkward line. Leaving 8 is Reese, but right back onto the door, and there they go across that finish line. A lot of back and forth here. Let's take another look. Ends up pretty good on the inside clip, I think. A big angle there heading down the hill. Makes it work. Not quite using any of the rumble on 6. Uses it on 7. He's on throttle, picks it up early. Not quite using it on 8 as well. Reese on the way on the inside after 8. There they go across that finish line. So, we put it in the judges' hands. Reese Tatterson on the left. Durrahman Al-Shetwi on the right. So there it is. Going left for Reese Tatterson. Reese Tatterson getting the win over Abdurrahman Al-Shetwi. I'd imagine it does come down to that contact in the first half of that battle where they have deemed Al-Shetwi at fault. Our next battle, Tikhon Pileski and Daryl Diaz. Tikhon to lead as he qualified 12th yesterday. Daryl Diaz give chase, qualifying at 21st. Here we go. Good line there through turn number 1. Tikhon good on his transition, heading down the hill now, grabbing that inside clip, using the rumble as he should there. 4, 6, 7 as well. Picks up that throttle and heads to 8, using all of the rumble once more. Daryl making a big dive there, pushing him along and across that finish line. Daryl getting super aggressive there in that last and final turn. We'll take another look at it here on the replay. Good line through there, heading on out to 3, using these rumbles as he should, leaving 4 maybe a little bit late. Big time using the rumbles there for 6 and 7. Makes it much easier to chase through the course. You open that line up as the lead car, and there's the pushing and the shoving across that finish line. Nicely done. And they'll head on back to the start. Daryl will now lead. Tikhon will give chase. All right, and back to the line. Lights are on. Daryl throwing the RX-7 in with Tikon right behind him, maybe a little bit tight to that inside, making the first transition. Small, tiny little correction there. Massaging the throttle, heading on down into 6, using all of the rumbles here. Good line from 6 to 7, now into 8, and using it there, hanging on to it maybe a little bit long, and Tikon making a dive in the chase. Staying aggressive as well. There they go. Crossing the finish line. We'll go straight back to the replay. Good battle between these two. Arrow putting up a fight against the robot himself. Good on that initiation. Yeah, ends up a little bit too far on the inside of that clip number 2. Good on that next inside clip, and using all of the rumble there for 6. Opening up that course. Econ. Very good in that chase as well. Matching the line and angle. Backs up a little bit there. Right back into it, and there they go. Finishing out their top 32 battle. Do we have a decision between these two? Tikon Pileski on the left, Daryl Diaz on the right. They're sliding left. Chris goes left. Carl goes left as well, so that is going to give a win to Tikon Pileski. What did Ed want? Ed makes it a unanimous decision. Tikon moves on into the top 16, where he'll face Reese Tatterson. Let's take a look at our top 32 bracket. The left-hand side is complete. Alan Hines gets the win. He'll face Russell Jones in the top 16. Brandon Gardner, he'll face Lukasz Pasquini, Cameron Mustard, and Maxime Tengai. Reese Tatterson and Tikon Pileski all in the top 16. But again, before that, the right-hand side of our top 32 bracket up next. So our next group is Brandon Patrick, Luciano Canero, Augusto Ferreira, and Linus Torkvis, Daniel Andreev, and Darius Ostraka, Zach O'Sullivan, and Simon Stanman. Getting in their practice runs now, making sure all of their equipment is working correctly. And the game itself, sometimes that's a thing. And our layout of this track will release after today's event as well. We'll put it up on our public servers. Very tricky track to get down at first. So our next battle coming to the line here. Kuto driving back to his pit. So again, we've got Brandon Patrick and Luciano Canero. Brandon will lead, qualifying second yesterday. Luciano battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. Land the spot here against Brandon Patrick. Can he keep it going? Initiating in. Nicely done by both. Luciano sacrificing a little bit of in that chase position through turn number 1, but then makes a dive into turn number 2. Almost throws away the run. Nicely done down the hill, though, from Luciano. Almost pushing him there. Filling 8. Getting there a little bit soon is Brandon. Maybe from the push, though. Now heading on out to the final outside zone and across that finish line. Goodness gracious. Take another look. and sacrifice a little bit of angle there in that chase. Here comes the big dive, maybe some contact along the bumper through the transition as well. Nicely done on 6 from Brandon. 7 as well. Heading down the hill. Luciano right in the pocket there, not quite matching the angle, but doing a good job on the line and proximity. Head on back to the start. And Luciano will now lead. Here we go. They're off for the second half of their top 32 battle. Good on the feint initiation from Luciano. Getting around that inside clip and out to 3 with Brandon right on the bumper. Nice and clean, heading on down to that next outside clip. Out to 6 now, using the rumble as he should. Clean on the transition, heading down the hill, matching the line and angle nicely is Brandon Patrick in that chase position. Luciano doing a near perfect lead though in that section of the course. Nicely done across the finish line as well. Tough battle between these two. Let's take another look on the replay. On the initiation, Brandon matching that line and angle nicely through turn number 1, down the hill for turn number 2 as well, into 6, right along that bumper, into 7. Almost no difference between those cars heading into 8. Last and final turn as well, staying off the door, crossing the finish line. Nicely done. Go to the judges. Brandon Patrick on the left, Luciano on the right. And there they go. Unanimous decision. Brandon Patrick gets the win over Luciano Canero. That'll end Luciano's event short, but he did a fantastic job yesterday as well in the last 16 qualifying battles. Here today against Brandon Patrick. That might, that's a contender for battle of the day. But up next, Augusto Federa and Linus Torkvis. So, due to having a little bit of issues with his VR, I've been talking to him this morning as well. Yesterday, he's just been having issues with it, sort of not turning off on him, but getting black screens and making him have to restart the game. So we'll move on into our next battle, Daniel Andreev and Darius Ostraka. Daniel Andreev to lead, qualifying 7th yesterday, and Darius Ostraka qualifying 26th. Here they go for their top 32 battle. Good initiation, firing off, getting around that inside clip. And a good line so far. Snappy on his transition there. Return number 2. Just getting out to the rumble strip, using it there on 7, picking up throttle early, and he jumps to the inside. Has to work it back out to the outside for 8. Good snappy transition for 9 with Darius right in that chase position. There they go, crossing that finish line. Here on the replay. Little feint initiation from Daniel out front. Darius following him nicely here, using a lot of that inside rumble. And that's why we put it there for that chase position. We want to see the lead stay off of it. Nicely done on 8. And a clean line through the last and final turn as well, filling that final outside zone. And Darius keeping it smooth in that chase position. They'll head on back to the start. Right, Darius now out front. Daniel to give chase. Moving on the initiation. Look at Daniel right in that chase position, almost pushing him around. Turn number one. Backs up for the transition and is right back into the pocket of that 890 Supra. Heading down the hill. Sacrificing a lot of angle out front to use some of that rumble strip. Now down into 8. Daniel waiting on that transition. Trying to make the dive there. And a little bit out on the outside is Darius Ostraka in that final turn. Let's take another look here on the replay. Almost some contact there through turn number one. Very clean on down the hill. There we see that awkward lineup for outside zone number 6. Nicely done on 8. Again, Daniel waiting on that transition and then slowly reeling him in for that final turn, filling the last outside zone. But again, a little bit off on that line through that last and final turn. So to our judges, Daniel Andreev on the left, Darius Ostraka on the right. And there it is. Daniel Andreev gets the win here in the top 32. And we're back at the start for our previous battle. We gave Uto a little 5-minute to hopefully get his VR sorted. Hopefully it can make it through this run as well. Really, both of them having kind of disconnecting from the PC. So let's see. Uto out front. Linus to give chase. A little bit tight to the inside clip there. Nicely done on 4. No, he over rotated. No, trying to keep it together. And gets right back online now. Linus still in that chase position. Reeling him back in. And crossing that finish line. So unfortunate to see there from Augusto. I know Jim having a bunch of issues over the weekend with his VR. Yeah, a little bit tight to the inside. And lead wheel needs to be in the middle of the box, and just a weird over rotation there in 4. They keep things going. All right. Back at the start with Linus Torkvis. The lead, Augusto Federa. Lights are on and they're off. Lean on the initiation, a little bit wide of that inside, making the transition for 4. Small little bobble there, almost over rotating, a little bit wide of that next inside clip. Not quite getting all of 6 either. Now heading down the hill, filling 8. And a good transition. Whoa, and a big dive there from Guto. Trying to stay aggressive, make it count. Sending it a little too hard. Let's take another look on the replay. Again, Linus out front. Doing the chase. Move through turn number 1 is Linus. Big transition there. We pull out of the angle just a little bit and end up wide of that inside clip. Move there through 7, picking up that throttle, staying on the right side of that inside reference point. There's the massive dive from Guto in that chase position, making some contact. We'll go to our judges. So Augusto Ferreira on the left, Linus Torkvis on the right. And it's a unanimous decision. Linus gets the win here in the top 32. He'll go on to face Brandon Patrick in the top 16. But up next, Zach O'Sullivan and Simon Sandman. Our last battle for this group of top 32 for round number 5. Again, Zach qualifying 10th, so he'll lead first. Simon qualifying 23rd. And they're off. Zach O'Sullivan initiating in. Simon doing a good job so far through turn number 1. First transition right along the bumper, almost making some contact. Grabbing that inside clip, a little bit wide of it is Zach, using that rumble strip. And now heading down to 8. Nicely done. In that chase position as well. Little bump there. Staying aggressive across that finish line. Staying in the pocket. Take another look. Good on that transition once more. Simon making it clean in this chase position. But Zach making it easy with the lead out front. Doing what he's supposed to be doing here through the course. Grabbing 8, grabbing 9. Making a good line here as well. Getting a little tap. Before crossing that finish line, they head on back to the start. Simon will now lead. Right, and they're off. Second half of their top 32 battle. Simon now out front. Previous champion Zach O'Sullivan in that chase position back in the E36 and making a dive in turn number 2. Applying the pressure right along the bumper through that transition and staying off the door there. Avoiding contact at the back of 7. Continuing on now, staying aggressive. Sacrificing a little bit of line in the chase, but matching the angle pretty good. Let's go back to the replay. Another clean half between these two. Again, Zach sacrificing a little bit of angle there in the chase, but all for that proximity. Nicely done there. Through 7 as well. 8 a little bit on the inside. Then that dive there. Staying with him though, crossing that finish line. We go to the judges. Zach on the left. Simon on the right. And there it is. A unanimous decision. Zach O'Sullivan gets the win over Simon Sandman here in the top 32. So that's going to complete that group of the bracket. So Brandon Patrick getting the win over Luciano Canero. He'll face Linus Torkvis in the top 16. Daniel Andreev also moving on into the top 16 to face Zach O'Sullivan. But up next, Nico Stelea and Austin Mitchell, Masashi Yoshida and Alex Rogachev, Ernestas Yakulis and Nick Heng, Vitaly Asov and Martinez Ostraka, all coming up next. For sure, Austin does have quite the chance here. Getting a little bit of practice battles in yesterday, battling his way through yesterday's last 16 qualifying battles. Land that spot there against Nico Stelea. Nico has been on one though. Super aggressive every single time he drives, and I mean every single time he drives. The moment the track drops, he's pushing people around. Nico is at the line ready to go, waiting on those couple of practice runs. And to make sure everything is working properly, including the game. There's Austin Mitchell creeping on up to the line to chase down Nico Stelea. Again, Austin battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. Now has the tough job ahead of him of Nico Stelea. They're off. RTR throwing it in with Austin Mitchell in the chase right there, but has to back up. Makes a big correction there. Now heading on down the hill. Right in the pocket of the Mustang out front. Nico filling all of 6, 7 as well. Firing off and jumping forward down the hill, using all of the rumble for 8 as well. Again, Nico locked in, but Austin Mitchell right in the pocket, right on the door across that finish line. Let's go to the replay. Good on that initiation, and if Austin would have just, maybe committed a little bit harder on it, I think he maybe frightened himself a little bit. It was a crazy initiation, and he quickly got right back into the fight. Again, all just speculation. No idea what's going on behind the wheel of Austin Mitchell. Nicely done across the finish line too. Good aggression from Austin. See if he can keep it clean out front for his lead, as that was a killer lead out front from Nico. Now back at the line, ready to go for the second half. Austin out front. Little shimmy shake initiation. Grabbing the inside clip, heading on out to 3. With Nico right in the chase position. Reeling him in. Almost looks to want to push him around the track right along the bumper for that transition. Nice and clean from Austin Mitchell out front in the S14. Final transition for 9. With Nico right on his door. Crossing that finish line. Okay. Take another look. Low rotation on that initiation a little bit, but it seemed to all be on time. Nice and smooth on his first transition. Filling forward with Nico in chase. Nico sacrificed a little bit of angle there for 6. 7 as well. A little stabby there from Nico heading on down the hill. Making a big dive there in the chase. Austin flying across that finish line. We'll go to those judges. Nico on the left. Austin Mitchell on the right. And a quick unanimous decision. Nico Stelea gets the win here in the top 32. Very good job from Austin Mitchell there. Again, battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. And doing a good job here in the top 32. Really putting up a good fight against Nico Stelea. Up next, Masashi Yoshida and Alex Rogachev. Masashi qualifying 14th, Alex qualifying 19th. Oh my goodness. Quite the nitrous purge. All right, so Masashi at the line in that lead position. He'll lead Alex Rogachev here in the top 32. Here we go. Good initiation from the big wagon out front, getting away from Alex a little bit. Heading on into 3 with Alex now right on the bumper. Giving him a little tap in the chase position. Heading on out to 6 now. Not quite getting out to the rumble, but could be effective from those bumps through 5. Heading on into 8 now. Good line there. Final transition with a big dive from Alex in that chase. There they go across that finish line, door to door. We'll quickly go back to the replay. Good line there through turn number 1. Alex quickly reeling him back in. There's the little tap there from that chase position. It kind of just falls out of the angle a little bit. Is Masashi heading on out to 6. Almost a little bit too far on the inside in that last and final turn from Masashi as well. Almost. Seemed to stay on the correct side. Again, we want to see him on the outside of those inside reference points. They act as a new track edge for the lead. Back at the line, Alex out front. Masashi to give chase. Good on that initiation, getting away from Masashi a little bit. Same thing here, right along the bumper. For that first transition, heading down into 6. Just barely getting on that rumble, using it for 7. Oh, and a big surge from Masashi in that chase position. They keep going. Another big surge. Stays off the door this time, and there they go. Finishing out the second half of their battle. Right back to that replay, Alex Rogachev. Taking that first transition. Actually right in the pocket, right along that bumper through there. It has to make a big correction to get back into the door, and that's where that big surge comes from. Another one there. And across that finish line. Let's go to the judges. Masashi on the left, Alex on the right. Winner goes on into the top 16. And then we've just got 2 more battles for the top 32. We'll take a small little break in between the top 32 and top 16. And then come right back for that top 16. No breaks from the top 16 on. So we got it one more time down there at the bottom from Carl. Ed goes right for Alex. And one more time from Chris. So they'll head on back to the start. And we'll line them back up for one more time here in the top 32. I would unfortunately have to agree, Uto. For training purposes, if you're wanting to use it for actual training purposes, absolutely. And just a overall like good time, right? But the some of the problems that comes with it is undoubtedly true. So back at the line for their one more time battle. And Masashi out front here for this one more time, and a big aggression there from Alex Rogachev in that chase position. Pushes Masashi offline. They continue on though. They're back in a small little angle corrections there from Masashi out front in outside zone. Number 6 now heading on down. Using that rumble. Good transition there. Alex reeling him in. Oh, some more contact as well. And across that finish line there, it looked a little bit of net code there. Maybe. Masashi is all the way out in Japan. Awesome to see him be able to compete with us here in the Virtual Drift Championship. There's that contact knocking Masashi offline. Bushida. Small little bobbles. Really lurches forward when he picks up throttle there. Leaving 7. Here we have another little small contact. Maybe some more before crossing that finish line. Now head on back to the start for their second half of this one more time battle. Alex to lead Masashi through the course. Here we go, Alex out front. Good on the initiation. No contact there through turn number 1. Nicely done on 3. Not quite filling all of 4. A little bit wide of the inside clip. And good transition for 7. Masashi reeling him in. Avoiding some contact this time around. Another final dive from Masashi in the chase. Good line through that last and final turn from Alex Rogachev. Back to the replay. And Alex out front. Good on that initiation. 3 as well. A little puffa. They're hanging on to it a little too long, but again, not quite filling 4. We want to see these drivers use these outside rumbles. That's how you get max points here as well. Back in yesterday's qualifying. Really good line there through that last and final turn. Crossing that finish line. So we've got Masashi on the left, Alex on the right once more. After their one more time battle, do we have a victor this time? Chris goes left. Ed goes left, and Carl also going left. Masashi Yoshida getting the win here in the top 32. He moves on to face Nico Stalea in the top 16. That'll be a fun one. But up next, Ernestas Yakubis and Nick Hang. Ernestas qualifying 6th yesterday, and Nick Hang qualifying 27th. Ernestas will be leading. Turn it back to us in that S15. Nick back in his Sierra. Here we go, initiating in. Some aggression there from Nick, maybe pushing him along through turn number 1. Has to make a correction as well. Here we go. Cross that inside clip. Filling 6, making the transition for 7. And look at Nick Hang. Matching the line and angle nicely. Down into 8 and filling it all the way is Ernestas out front. I'm going to add some angle there at the end to grab that last and final outside zone. Rapid battle between these two. Let's take another look here. Yeah, there's that correction from Nick Hang. He would assume he kind of shut the car down there almost. And, kind of get back into it. You see his wheels turn hard left. Get that car to almost reinitiate. And Across that finish line, still on the door is Nick Hang. They'll come on back to the start gate. So back at the start with Nick Hang now out front. Ernestes to chase him down. Ooh, a little bit of contact there in turn number 1 from Ernestes in that chase position. Good transition. Head on down to that second inside clip, grabbing 6 and not quite getting on the rumble for 7. Now heading into 8. Using it there. Final transition. Ernestes reeling him in for the last and final turn, and Nick Hang goes a little bit wide. And has to cut back in to grab that last and final outside zone. Let's take another look. Nice and clean through the first half of the course there. A little bit wide of inside clip number 2. There we see him staying off the rumble there for 7. We really want to see him use it out front. And opens up that line. Here we see going a little bit wide and then has to really drive that car back in to grab that last zone. So back to the judges. Ernestes on the left, Nick Hang on the right. Looks like we do have a decision here. They're going left for Ernestes. He gets the win here in the top 32 over Nick Hang. We'll move on into the top 16 where he'll face the winner of our next and last final battle here in the top 32. Vitaly Asov and Martinez Ostraka. Vitaly at the line, ready to go already. Qualifying 11th yesterday, where Martinez Ostraka qualified 22nd. Again, our last and final battle here in the top 32 before moving on into the top 16. We'll take a little break just after this battle as well, then come right back to it for the rest of the round. No breaks. Here we go. Vitaly again out front. Martinez chasing him down. Snappy initiation. A little bit on the inside of that inside clip. Grabs 3. Makes that first transition. Grabbing the inside clip nicely as well. Vitaly. Smooth out front and getting pushed along a little bit is Vitaly from Martinez. Good transition across as well. Final line heading on out to the outside. A little bit off of what we want to see, but wasn't inherently difficult to case what we really don't want to see. Let's take another look here on the replay. And Vitaly a little bit on the inside there. Martinez right on the bumper for that first transition, matching at the line and angle pretty good here heading on into 6. Not quite using a lot of rumble out front is Vitaly. There we see that little boop from Martinez in that chase position, and just kind of washing a little bit there out to the outside in the back half of that turn. Last and final turn, we want to see it sort of being attacked like an outside inside outside, a late apex on that turn, right where that inside reference point is. So Martinez now in the lead position. Vitaly to give chase. Last and final top 32 battle. Here we go. Snappy initiation, almost getting pushed there from Vitaly in that chase position. Super aggressive. First transition, makes it dive again. Is Vitaly staying right in the pocket of that BMW in the lead. Nicely done on the transition for 7, using that rumble strip. Good line heading down the hill for 8. Final transition and a final dive from Vitaly, staying aggressive, pushing him across the finish line. Nicely done by both of those drivers. Let's take another look. They're very aggressive along that initiation is Vitaly. Nicely done here through that first transition as well. Get right back on into the pocket, right along the bumper through that transition, and smoothly reels him back in, heading on into 8. Backs up for the final one, and then makes a final dive. Wow. So, to those judges, Chris, Ed, and Carl, our wonderful 3 judges. Tally on the left, Inez Ostrika on the right. And there it is, unanimous decision. Vitaly Asov gets the win here in the top 32, moves on into the top 16, and there is your bracket and how it's played out so far. The Alan Hines and Russell Jones will face off in the top 16. Brandon Gardner and Lucas Pasquini. Cameron Mustard and Maxime Tingai. Reese Tatterson and Tikhon Pileski. Brandon Patrick and Linus Torkfus. Daniel Andreev and Zachos Sullivan, Nico Stalea and Masashi Yoshida, Ernestas Yakulis and Vitaly Asov, all coming up next in today's top 16. Again, we'll take a small break here from our wonderful sponsors and partners and come right back with round 5, top 16 here at Ahvenisto Race Circuit in Finland. All right, welcome back, everyone. This is round number 5 of season 10 here at Ahvenisto's race circuit. Layout A, our first layout here on the course, and we're heading on into our top 16. If you're just now joining us, here is your top 16 bracket. Take your screenshots now if you'd like to follow along. We'll work our way down the left-hand side of the bracket into our right-hand side of the bracket. Up next will be Alan Hines and Russell Jones, Brandon Gardner and Lucas Pasquini, Cameron Mustard and Maxime Tenguy, Reese Tatterson and T-Con Pileski, all coming up next here in today's top 16. It's been a fun one so far. Some scrappy battles, some close battles, some contacts here and there as well. Hope you all are enjoying it so far. We'll go to that start line. Drivers just getting in there. A little bit of practice runs before we send them off here in the top 16. And it'll be Alan Hines and Russell Jones up first. Alan qualifying first yesterday in qualifying with that 97.7. Russell Jones qualifying 16th. So Alan Hines will lead first. There's Alan's Mustang firing up and heading to the line. To lead, Russell Jones. First battle of our top 16 at the line, ready to go. And through the chicane, they're off. Big initiation from Alan out front in the Mustang. A little bit wide on the inside, grabbing that next outside, and a smooth transition into 4, heading on down the hill. A little puff of dirt there, hanging on to 4, maybe a little bit too long, not quite using the rumble on 6, using it on 7, and Russell making a dive in the chase. Filling 8, final transition now. Little puff of dirt as well. One more time, there they go. Crossing that finish line. Take another look. Throwing it in. Around that inside clip. Russell trying to make a dive here in the chase. Ends up in the pocket for a short duration. Right along the bumper there. Through that transition. Heading on down into 8. Final turn there, heading on back to out to the outside. Russell Jones right there along that door. So back at the start, Russell Jones will now lead Alan Hines. Russell again qualifying 16th yesterday and today's qualifying. Alan qualifying first. Here we go. Almost falling off the track there around that chicane. Heading on out to 3, getting there really early and dropping a tire before that added rumble strip. Now heading down the hill, grabbing the inside. And grabbing 6. Blue Loner's transition for 7. Alan making a dive there, matching the line and angle nicely down into 8. Right along the bumper for the last transition. Oh, and a little contact there from Alan in the chase. Crossing that finish line. Here we go, back on that replay. Not quite filling all of 1. Ending up at 3 a little soon. 4 maybe as well. Done here into 7. Alan, nice job in that chase position as well. Good on 8. well as that last and final transition. A little bump there, maybe another one before crossing that finish line. And we head to our judges. Alan Hines on the left, Russell Jones on the right. And there it is. Alan Hines gets the win here in the top 16 over Russell Jones. So Alan Hines will later on face the winner of this battle, Brandon Gardner and Lucas Pasquini. Brandon qualifying 8th yesterday, Lucas qualifying 24th. They're off. Initiating in with Lucas, making some contact there. Right after that initiation, really adding a ton of angle there to Brandon's E36 out front. They continue on though. Brandon getting away. Now down the hill. Filling 8. And a good final transition. Good line here through this turn, heading on out to the outside. Nicely done. Let's take another look specifically at this contact here in turn number 1. Drivers need to be back on throttle by the end of the rumble strip, but I think it happens before then. Yeah, sure does. Quite the hit there, especially if that lead is using that rumble. There's a little hump in it, so I can definitely see, you know, if the contact happens right there at that little hump, the rear is already being unsprung so much that now you have contact along with it as well. Really just kind of sends the rear of that car around. They'll head on back to the start for the second half. Again, anything can happen here in the second half as well. Lucas will now lead. Brandon Gardner will give chase. Smooth on the initiation. Nicely done on the inside clip there. Maybe a little bit wide. Much better than being too far on the inside though. Grabbing that next inside clip, heading on out to 6 and gets out to the rumble maybe a little bit early. And now heading on down to 8. Final transition. Brandon reeling him back in here. And clean across that finish line. So go back to the replay. Lukash out front here in the second half of the battle. And smooth on that initiation. Not using the rumble though. Almost getting to 3 early, but don't see any dirt. A little small correction there after that transition at 4. Definitely seems to get there early. Maybe some contact through that transition as well. Final transition, nicely done here, smooth by both. Brandon sacrificing just a little bit of angle, kind of trying to reel him back in. We'll go to our judges. Brandon Gardner on the left, Lucas Pasquini on the right. Winner heads on into the top 8. There it is, a unanimous decision. Brandon Gardner gets another win here for round number 5. Moves on into the top 8 where he'll have to face Alan Hines. Up next, Cameron Mustard and Maxime Tengai. Maxime qualifying 20th. Cameron Mustard battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. At the line, ready to go for their top 16 battle. And they are off. Initiating in, almost with some contact there. Door to door through turn number 1, bumper to bumper through that first transition as well. Now heading down onto this outside zone here. Very tricky. Filling 7, picking up throttle on time and heading on down into 8 with Cameron Mustard right there in tow, right along the bumper as well for that final transition and into the pocket of the E36 out front. quickly back to the replay. Look at that initiation. Super aggressive from Cameron Mustard to stay right there with Maxime out front. Maxime does a pretty good job out front in this lead position, a little bit wide of an inside. Falls at an angle a little bit before making his transition into 7, but a good line down into 8, using all of that rumble. Good on his last transition as well. And a pretty good line through that last and final turn. Cameron staying with him the entire way. Back at the line, Cameron Mustard out front in the second half in their battle. Maxime will give chase. And Cameron keep it going after battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. Smooth on that initiation. Move through turn number 1, but ooh, nope, I don't think I saw any turn there. Seemed like he was gonna get there early. Now heading down into 6. Using the rumble. Not there on 7 though, but makes it clean. Picks up that throttle on time. Feels able, leaves it maybe a little bit early. Maxime reeling him back in for the last and final turn. Across the finish line. Good on that initiation there. Yeah, I guess, yeah, we did end up a little bit early there. Teeny tiny little puff. Nothing too major. Very small things back and forth between these two in this battle. Nice little tuck up underneath from Maxime in that chase. Staying with him across that finish line. We go to our judges. Cameron on the left. Maxime on the right. And it looks like we have a one more time split call. Ed goes left for Cameron Mustard. They're going to go right on back to that start line for a one more time here in the top 16. Yeah, Maxime will lead, qualifying 20th. Cameron taking that 29th position by battling his way through yesterday's last 16 qualifying battles. And they're off for their one more time. Here's the first half. Laying through this turn now. A little bit far on the inside is Maxime. Grabs that next one nicely. Out to 6. Very good job now heading down the hill. And look at Cameron Mustard. A little bit on the inside with his line, but matching the angle nicely. Good proximity as well. Right along that bumper through that final transition. Now heading on back out to the outside. Finishing the run strong. Let's take another look. Yeah, definitely a little bit too far on the inside of that first inside clip. And we want to see the lead wheels in the middle of the box. Wanted to keep them off. It's pretty aggressive inside rumble there of turn number 1. But even if you do leave the room for that chase to use it, it's not a good one to use. Quickly turning around and back at the start. Cameron Mustard now out front in the second half of this one more time battle. Cameron, the lead Maxime. Can he keep it going here? round number 5. Good transition, good line through turn number 1 and out to 3. Maxime trying to reel him back in, wide of that inside clip. Can he make it work here at 6? Just barely. Makes it work at 7. And now heading down the hill where Maxime is sacrificing a lot of line. Almost making some contact. We have some tire drops there. We'll take a look at it on that replay. Nicely done on that line there. Track is absolutely gorgeous. Again, originally made all the way back in 2017 by Jasu. If I'm saying that right. Here we go. A little problematic there from Maxime. A little tire drop from Cameron out front in 8. Finishing it out nicely. Let's go back to those judges between these two. Cameron on the left, Maxime on the right. And there it is. Cameron keeps his round 5 alive here in the top 16. Taking down Maxime 10 guy. He moves on into the top 8. Again, battling his way through those last 16 qualifying battles yesterday. Now finding himself in round 5's top 8. So, up next, our last battle of first group of top 16, Reese Tatterson and Tikon Pileski. This should be a good one here. Reese Tatterson qualifying 5th yesterday. Tikon Pileski qualifying 12th. They're at the line ready to do battle between them two. Tikon still in the race for the championship. Can he keep that alive here? Reese. Good initiation, a good line through turn number 1. A little puff of dirt there. Getting out to 3 just a little bit early. Nicely done for 6. Good transition down the hill. Oh, and Tikon comes in hot. We've got some more contact there after 7. Keeping things going. Tikon staying aggressive and filling the last and final outside zone. Take another look. Smooth on that initiation. Very nice line through that inside clip. Just barely on the puff of dirt. Very minor from those judges. Good transition down the hill. Yeah, it definitely seems like he's on throttle as well. I know in his previous battle, he also has some contact there. Looks like Tikon just coming in a little hot. Little intimidation tactics there from Tikon on the way back. So they'll switch around. Tikon will now lead Reese Tatterson here in the top 16. Initiating in is Tikon. Reese in chase. Round that first inside clip. Getting there to 3 a little bit early as well. Getting to 4 a little bit early. Ooh, and some contact. Oh no, more contact. They keep things going. I don't know how. Now down into 8. Using the rumble. Final transition. Reese making another dive. He ends up way on the inside. Still there. My goodness. Let's take another look. Here comes that problematic area. Yeah, I'll let the the judges maybe view the replays and stuff like that. We won't call anything. We'll leave it up to them. It's not our job. We're here to have fun, talk you guys through it, and we'll go to those judges. Reese Tatterson on the left, Tikon Pileski on the right. And there is a D-cell area there on 4. To be fairly brief. And of course, D-cell areas are, even it being a major, doesn't always mean that it's an area where drivers should be like really kind of parking their cars, and then it's also, in the same sense, an area where the chase drivers need to be aware that there is an area of D-cell there that the leads can use and adapt accordingly. Could go either way here, with Reese maybe coming in too hot, Tikon parking it, or not getting back on throttle in time. I don't think the contact happened in the area of getting back on throttle. So it's going to be a split call. Carl goes left, Tikon Pileski Chris and Ed go right for Tikon Pileski. Tikon gets the win here in the top 16 over Reese Patterson. So that's going to complete the left-hand side of our bracket. Here it is up on the screen now. Allen gets the win there in the top 16 over Russell Jones. He'll face Brandon Gardner. Cameron Mustard also getting the win. He'll face Tikon Pileski. I should update here shortly for the bracket. Yep, anyone wondering, while they take their practice runs, we'll take a look at the line map. Part of the course on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see at clip number 4, we do have that D-cell area. Basically the start of that zone, really to kind of show that drivers should be doing it after their transition, always. And then they can carry that to the end of that rumble strip on their left. So last call being called from those judges. Again, we allow those drivers to load on in each group and take a couple of practice runs, make sure all of their stuff in the game is working correctly. Up next, Brandon Patrick and Linus Torkfest. Brandon qualifying second, Linus qualifying 18th. They're at the line ready to go. They're off. Initiating in. Getting around that inside clip and out to 3. A transition, picking up that throttle, heading on down the hill. Having that inside clip. Good angle from Brandon, heading out to 6. I'm not sure if he got all the way out to that rumble. They'll continue on with Linus right in chase, heading down the hill. Final dive from him, almost getting into the door, having to back up a little bit. There they go, finishing out the first half of their top 16 battle. Let's take another look. throwing it in. Really like the initiation from Brandon Patrick. Linus doing a very good job here in that chase as well. Look at the proximity there, heading on down to 6, now into 7. Very impressive dive once more from Linus in that chase position, but a really good lead out front as well from Brandon Patrick there, having to lock up the fronts a little bit as Linus. There they go across that finish line. Now back at the start quickly, turning around for the second half of their battle. Lights are on and they are off. Good initiation, getting away from Beepad a little bit on the run up, but Brandon right back into the fight. Right back into the pocket. A little bit wide at the inside. Clip out front as Linus. Good transition now down the hill. Sacrificing a little bit of angle is Brandon in the chase, but he's right in the pocket. Good proximity there as well. Bumper to bumper through that final transition and across that finish line. Nicely done by both of these drivers. Very clean here on the replay there. We see a little bit wide as Linus from that second inside clip. Little sacrifice in that angle, leaving 7. Really kind of just falls into it there as well, matching it very nicely in that last and final turn. Linus doing a good job out front as well. Brandon Patrick on the left here on the judges panel. Linus on the right. We have a winner here in the top 16. It looks like we do. Brandon Patrick gets the unanimous victory over Linus Torkvis here in the top 16. He moves on into the top 8 to face the winner of our next battle, Daniel Andreev and Zach O'Sullivan. Coming to the line, Daniel Andreev will lead first, qualifying 7th in yesterday's qualifying. Zach qualifying 10th. All right, so quickly at the line here, Daniel Andreev in that lead position. Zach O'Sullivan in that chase lane. Good initiation. Zach staying aggressive in that chase position through turn number 1. And right along the bumper. Whoa, and a big dive there from Zach, making it work somehow, staying off the side of that car. Oh my goodness gracious. Now heading on down the hill and stuffing it into the door of Daniel Andreev. Final transition here. Last and final turn as well. Heading on back out to the outside for the last outside zone. And crossing that finish line. Exciting battle here between these two. Daniel Andreev leading here on the replay. There's that big dive from Zach O'Sullivan in the chase, using a little bit of that inside rumble. They're allowed to do it in the chase. Look at that. Bumper to bumper. I don't know how he didn't make contact through that transition. Last and final one as well, just tucks up underneath very nicely in that E36. But again, Daniel doing a good job out front as well. I head on back to the start. Turn around and send it for their second half of the battle. Zach O'Sullivan now out front, Daniel to give chase. Heading on down the street. Get that graphic updated with Zach out front and making that first transition with Daniel right on the door. Heading down the hill, little contact there from that chase position, heading on into 6, filling 7. A lot of left foot brake there from Zach. We see the front wheels lock up a little bit there around that inside reference point. Heading on out to the outside and across that finish line. We'll take a look on our replay. Again, graphic a little bit backwards there, showing Daniel out front, but that is Zach O'Sullivan, previous champion Zach O'Sullivan, with Daniel Andreev giving chase. Around that inside clip, nice line, heading on out to 3. Right along that bumper is Daniel. There's the little tap. Heading on out to 6. Not quite using the rumble for 7. May have left it early as well. Grabbing 9 and a good line through this final turn out to 10. And we'll go to our judges with Daniel on the left, Zach on the right. So much for personal space indeed. Taking all of it away. All right, we've got Ed going left for Daniel Andreev. Chris also going left for Daniel Andreev. Carl wanted a one more time, but that's going to give the win to Daniel Andreev. Here in the top 16, he'll move on into the top 8 to face Brandon Patrick. Up next is Nico Stelea and Masashi Yoshida. Right back at the line is our next drivers. Nico Stelea out front, qualifying 3rd yesterday. Masashi in the chase position, qualifying 14th. And here we go. Down the run up. Nicely done around turn number 1. Filling 3. And a snappy transition for 4. Masashi trying to stay aggressive there. Little corrections in that chase position. Almost making contact there through the transition. Nicely done to match the line and angle, heading on down into 8. Nico on a ripper here out front. Nicely done on his line, heading on out to the last and final zone with Masashi right there on his door. Snappy initiation, very fast from Nico out front here on this replay. And we see the dive towards the inside from Masashi. Maybe getting a little bit into the dirt there before that rumble there. Almost some contact, but somehow making it work and making it look sick down the hill. Final transition, Nico pulling away a little bit, but Masashi getting right back into the pocket. We're crossing that finish line. They'll head on back to the start for the second half of their battle. Masashi will lead. Nico will give chase here in the top 16. And not quite filling all of outside zone number 1. Now heading on out to 3, getting there early out front. Big angle for 4. Somehow makes it work. Still keeping up a pretty good amount of angle there. 4, 6, really fast now down the hill. Having to make a correction there. We see his front wheels almost straight there along that inside reference point. Final turn here, heading on out to the last and final outside zone. Nico staying aggressive. Let's take another look. Not quite filling that first outside zone. Maybe a little bit wide of that inside clip as well. And again, that big angle there in 4. A wobble in 6. Big transition there. Nico reeling him right back in. Other small correction from Masashi out front in 8. Nicely done in the last and final turn. Let's go to the judges. Nico on the left. Masashi on the right. And there it is. Nico Stalea gets the win here in the top 16. He'll move on into the top 8. He'll face the winner of our next battle, our last and final battle here in today's top 16. Ernestas, Yakubis, and Daliasov. Ernestas to lead first, qualifying 6th in yesterday's qualifying. Dali qualifying 11th. Sending him quickly. Initiating it with Vitali being super aggressive in this chase position. Good line through turn number 1. First transition. And Vitali stays right with him. Reels him in even closer. Heading on down into 6. Nice line and angle there. Good transition as well. Now, down into 8. Vitali's still right there with him, not letting up, and a big dive in that chase position right on into the pocket. And there they go, finishing out the first half of their top 16 battle. Goodness gracious. Let's take another look. Nicely done through that turn number 1. 6 as well. Right along that bumper is Vitali. Both of them making it look extremely clean, making this course look easy. And they'll head on back to the start. All right, quickly back at the start. Dali now out front. Ernestas giving chase. Clean first half, and they keep it clean here in the second half. Staying aggressive in that chase is Ernestas. Good transition. Grabbing that next inside clip. And heading on out to 6, using the rumble. Nicely done on the transition once more, right along the bumper. Jumps to the inside a little bit is Ernestas. Final transition, another dive there. Nice and clean through the final turn and outside zone. Back to the replay. Nicely done through there. Turn 1, a little bit on the inside is Ernestas, but Vitali a little bit on the outside. Nicely done through 7. Another jump towards the inside. Has to make a all correction in the chase. Great proximity through that last and final turn. Let's go to those judges. Ernestas on the left, Vitali on the right. And there it is, unanimous decision. Vitaly Asov gets the win here in the top 16. Again, our last and final top 16 battle, and there's how it played out. Alan Hines moves on to face Brandon Gardner. Cameron Mustard, he'll have Tikhon Pileski in the top 8. Brandon Patrick will have Daniel Andreev, and Nico Stalea will have Vitaly Asov. We'll switch that bracket here to our top 8. There it is. Up next will be the top left-hand side of the bracket. We'll work down the left-hand side and then over on to the right. Big battles coming up here in today's top 8. I think all 8 cars just left the gate together? Almost. I had to go and click. We'll let them take their practice runs. We'll pull up the bracket one more time too while they take their practice runs if y'all want to take your screenshots to follow along. And we pull it up between each group. But this time we'll pull it up after the top 8 is completed. Hope everyone has enjoyed the event so far. I sure have. I hope I'm keeping y'all as entertained as I can without my buddy Tanner today and yesterday. He's had an ice race out there in Alberta. It looks like our drivers are coming to the line. Again, Alan Hines and Brandon Gardner will face off. Alan qualifying first yesterday. Gardner qualifying 8th. Here we go. Initiating in. Through turn number 1. First transition and a big dive from Brandon Gardner. I don't know how they didn't make contact. They continue on now down the hill. Big transition for 7 and a big dive once more for Brandon Gardner. Trying to stay in the pocket of that bigger Mustang. Last and final one there, matches the line and angle nicely. Falls out of it just a little bit there, but keeps up that aggression. Take another look. Very nice transition there, or initiation, excuse me. Almost getting pushed a little bit in turn number 1 as well. There we go. That big dive there. Still no contact. Right along the bumper through that transition for 7. Good line from Allen. Yeah, qualifying yesterday in position number 1. 97.7 on that board. Does a good job there in that lead position against Brandon. So they'll flip it around. Brandon now out front in the second half of their battle. Like the initiation, almost a little late though. Yeah, he's really wide of turn number 1, and I think without that contact, sure, there was contact made. Whoa, and then Allen falling way back there, making the transition for 7, firing off and heading down to 8 now. Using that rumble as he should. Allen's now back into the fight. Back along the door and finishing out the second half of their battle. So a lot to take in here. I'm gonna look at my screen closer. Here we go. And this, yeah, it was a little late. You can see he's washing there. He's way outside of the normal skid marks you see from everyone else today. Little puff of dirt there as well. But that might have been from Allen just kind of sending it in a little hard, trying to make up the gap there. Final transition. Playing it a little safe, maybe a slow reel in from Alan. There they go across that finish line. We'll go to our judges. Alan on the left, Brandon on the right. Again, winner goes to the final. Judges just checking replays there, as they should. Got some contact there in the second half of that battle. And then something happening there at clip number 4. A lot of one more times in the chat here. Oh, looks like we have a decision. It's a split call. It comes down to Carl, and they go left. Alan Hines does get the win here against Brandon Gardner here in today's top 8. He'll go on into the final 4. A lot of things happening there in that battle. So up next, Cameron Mustard and Tikon Pileski will be coming to the line. Cameron Mustard, again, battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles, finds himself in the top 8 against Tikon Beat Boot Pileski. Tikon will, of course, lead first. He qualified 12th yesterday. There's Tikon quickly coming to the line for his top 8 battle against Cameron Mustard. Can Cameron keep things going here for round number 5? Here's the chicane and initiating in. Nice and smooth from Tikon. Nicely done on his line through that first inside clip. Get on down the hill. Grabbing 6 with Cameron Mustard right on the bumper through that transition. It took him a second to get that car to transition. Now they fill 8. And a big dive from Cameron Mustard in that chase position. Staying aggressive. Nicely done from Tikon out front as well. Let's take a second look. Nicely done, filling outside zone number 1. Getting out to 3 just ever so slightly early. Super easy to do. As a driver, it's hard to even feel it there. heading on down the hill. Look at Cameron. Staying aggressive. Final dive there as well. He does fall back just a little bit there, but gets right back into it as Ticon adds some more angle there for that last and final turn. So they'll come back to the line, turn around, and we'll flip them around. Cameron will now lead. Econ will give chase. Again, can Cameron keep it going? And into the final four. Can he take down Ticon? Here we go. Initiating in. Ticon going for his side-by-side initiation. Trying to stay with him. Getting to 3 just a little bit early. Very similar to Ticon in his lead. Ticon now almost pushing him down into 6. Transition into 7. And a big dive and some more contact. But it doesn't affect Cameron really at all. Maybe we do see a little tire drop. Not quite filling 9 either. And across that finish line. Interesting. Take another look here. Get in the power stance. Getting there just a little bit early. Not quite filling 4 either, I don't think, from Cameron out front. Just does get out to the rumbles here for 6 and 7. There's that contact along the rear of Cameron's car. And then not quite filling 9 either. So kind of throwing it at the zones and then kind of driving away from him as he picks that throttle back up. Oh, to the judges panel. Cameron on the left, Econ on the right. Good battle either way. And Cameron putting on a show for us all. And showing us why that last 16 qualifying battles was a good idea. Absolutely fantastic addition to our competition format. We have so many people just qualifying in the 90s and not making it into battles, which they're clearly good enough to make it into battles and put on a show. So we added that addition a couple seasons back. It's the top 28 get locked into the main event top 32 bracket, and then that 29 through 44, so 16 drivers get put into the last 16 qualifying battles, where when we have our last 4 drivers, they take the 4 remaining slots. But we do have a decision. It's gonna be Cameron Mustard. Cameron Mustard getting the win over Ticon Pileski here in round number 5. Again, battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles, finds himself in top 4, where he'll have to face Alan Hines. But up next, Brandon Patrick and Daniel Andreev. This will be a heater as well. Brandon Patrick qualifying 2nd, Daniel Andreev qualifying 7th in yesterday's qualifying. They're at the line, ready to go. Through the chicane, down the run up. Little feint initiation from Brandon going wide of that inside clip, but a good smooth line, good on his angle as well. Daniel Andreev right into the pocket now. Heading into 6, using a little bit of that rumble, making a snappy transition, picking up that throttle and picking up speed down the hill, getting there a little bit early. We see a little puff of dirt there. Daniel in that chase position, pushing Brandon across that finish line. Battles are getting insane here now in the top 8. Here's that replay. Nice and smooth through turn 1. Now into turn 2 with Daniel Andreev. Almost pushing him down the hill here. Backs up for that transition right along the bumper there and makes that dive work. Matching the line and angle nicely. It's what we want to see in that chase position. Staying aggressive as well. And across that finish line. Oh, Daniel needs to put down a very good lead run out front as well. Brandon needs to get aggressive here in the chase. Firing off. Oh, and a little bit of contact there. Through turn number 1, Daniel was a tiny bit wide of that inside clip and then drops a little bit on 4, right along the bumper into 7 now. Patrick a little bit on the inside. Oh, and some more contact in the final transition. No, falls off the track. Crosses the finish line outside of the course. Let's take another look and back into the power stands here for the replay. I've been standing up for a while now. Oh yeah, just coming in maybe a little bit too high. It didn't seem like he was doing anything wrong. Definitely does drop at 4, but makes it work here down the hill. A little bit on the inside is Brandon. Now, to be fair, yeah, it does seem Daniel gets stuck a little bit on that rumble strip on 8, but it's still, you know, Patrick's jump to drop back for that transition. We did see just the tiniest little puff of dirt there, leaving 8. We'll pull up our judges panel. Brandon Patrick on the left, Daniel Andreev on the right. And there it is. Daniel Andreev gets the win. Unanimous victory over Brandon Patrick. He'll move on into the final 4. Up next, Nico Stalea and Vitaly Asov, our last battle here in today's top 8. Nico out front to leave Vitaly. They're quickly off. Nicely done. Vitaly getting aggressive in the chase position. Right in the pocket. Good proximity. Can he back up for the transition? He makes it work. Right along the bumper. Now right along the door, heading on down into 8. Getting there a little bit early is Nico. Filling 9 now. Ooh, and a little tap from that chase position. Crossing the finish line. Take another look. Done through turn 1. Very smooth down the hill here. Bumper to bumper through that final transition. And being pushed through that last and final turn. That our head judge Chris timed out. We'll wait on him to rejoin the server, I believe. Have the little hiccup there, I believe is him rejoining. Make it very important for the other drivers to leave and join the servers when it's appropriate and not in the middle of someone's runs for that reason. Again, still has almost 40 cars to load. Fully makes it back into the server. Sounds like they're ready to go. Vitaly out front, second half of their top 8 battle. Nico getting aggressive in turn number 1. Careful not to make that contact. Push him off course along the bumper for that first transition and then pushing him down the hill ever so slightly. Next transition right along the bumper as well, with Nico making a dive and right on into the door of Vitaly. Final transition. Oh, maybe making a little bit of contact there. Vitaly keeping it going and crossing that finish line. Take another look. initiation from Vitaly. I think a little bit on the inside of that first inside clip. Bumper to bumper through there. There's the little push from Nico in that chase. There's more right along the bumper, heading down the hill. Fantastic job by Nico. It seemed like there was contact there, but maybe not. Go to the judges. Nico on the left, Vitaly on the right. And those of you in chat, if you didn't know, Nico drives this way all the time, and I mean all the time. As soon as I release the layout to him, he's just on one immediately. Never lets up, and it's definitely paying off this season. It's working out for him. Here in season number 10. Will he get the win over Vitaly here in the top 8? We'll find out here shortly. Really checking out those replays. We still wait on those judges. Oh, it does seem like we do have a decision. Is it a full split call? It is. Vitaly gets the win over Nico Stalea here in the top 8. Vitaly will move on to face Daniel Andreev. We'll take a look at our Final 4 bracket. There it is. Alan Hines, Cameron Mustard, Daniel Andreev, and Vitaly Asov. Cameron fighting his way all the way through the last 16 qualifying battles. They're at the line, ready to go quickly. Alan will lead Cameron Mustard. Alan qualifying first. Again, Cameron battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. Can he keep it going? Alan Hines out front and initiating in, filling outside zone number 1. And heading down the hill. Look at Cameron staying clean in the chase position. Right along the bumper there through the transition and heading on down the hill. Falling back a little bit from the Mustang and the final dive there. Cameron trying to keep things going, and I think doing a pretty good job. He did fall behind just a little bit there, heading on into 8. We'll take another look here on the replay. Getting there to 3 just a little bit early is Alan. Cameron is on one today. Going up against the big dogs. There's that little fall behind there, but makes up for it here in the last and final dive. Makes it very clean as well, right into the pocket of that bigger Mustang, and they head on back to the start. So now Cameron Mustard out front to lead Alan Hines here in the top 4. Second half of their battle, Cameron Mustard goes to initiate, fills 1. Nice line, heading on out to 3. Picks up that throttle from 4 and heads down to that inside, out to the next outside, using the rumbles as he should. Now down the hill, Alan sacrifice a little bit of that line. They get there a little early on 8, final transition. Working his way around that final turn and across that finish line. Take a second look. And Cameron out front here. Top 4 battle. Nicely done for turn number 1. Maybe a little bit too far on the inside. That inside clip. Nicely done on 4. Alan reels him in quickly. Sacrifice a little bit of that line. And then another big dive there from Alan. Bigger, much bigger car, much bigger wheelbase there. And the final dive from Alan. Nicely done from Cameron out front as well. Does he keep things going? Alan on the left. Cameron Mustard on the right. Brandon talking about his inner tingling again. Will Cameron get the win? Oh, and we've got a decision in front of us. Chris goes right, Ed goes left, Carl goes right. Cameron Mustard gets the win over Alan Hines here in the top 4. Cameron goes to the finals again after battling his way through the last 16 qualifying battles. Our next top 4 battle, Daniel Andreev and Vitaly Asov, teammates here in the final 4, who will move on into the finals. Daniel will lead, qualifying 7th. Vitaly qualifying 11th. They're off. Initiating and firing off quickly. Vitaly staying aggressive in that chase. Nice positioning to get ready for that transition and head on down the hill. Nicely done on 6. Right along the bumper once more is Vitaly in that chase position. Good dive there. Heading to 8. Final transition. Another final dive there. Lots of angle from Daniel Andreev out front. And there they go across that finish line, door to door. Here's that replay. Using that rumble on that initiation. I like, again, that positioning from Vitaly. You're already set up for that transition. You get to make the dive there, heading down the hill, grabbing 6. Small little bobble from Daniel out front. Little one there from Vitaly, but he makes it work quickly, reels him back in. Final transition there to grab 9, and then almost pushing Daniel across that finish line. Now they head on back to the start for the second half. Vitaly will now lead. His teammate Daniel Andreev will give chase. They're off. A fan initiation from Vitaly. Nicely done on that inside clip and out to 3. Bumper to bumper for that first transition, and into the pocket is Daniel Andreev, staying with him nicely there, heading down the hill. Little dive there. A little bit on the inside was Daniel, preparing for that final transition and making it work quickly onto the door and into the pocket, crossing that finish line. This one, yeah, this one could definitely go one more time. Let's take another look here on replay. What do we think, everyone? Will we have a winner here? The top 4. Loser goes on into that third place battle. Face Alan Hines. Winner moves on into the finals against Cameron Mustard. Such a nice job on that last transition from Daniel Andreev. And to that judges panel. Daniel on the left, Vitaly on the right. And a quick decision, unanimous victory. Honestly, wasn't even paying attention. Daniel Andreev gets the win here in the top 4. So Daniel moves on into the finals. Vitaly goes to the third place battle against Alan Hines. Look at Alan quickly coming to the line. He said he doesn't want to waste any time here. There's Vitaly quickly coming back to the line. Fresh off his top 4 battle. All right, lights are illuminated and they are off for their third place battle here for round number 5, initiating in and filling outside zone number 1. Nicely done on that inside clip with Vitaly right along the bumper and onto the door quickly of Alan Hines. Down into 6 now, using the rumble. Smooth on the transition, almost dropping tire on the back end of that rumble strip. Not quite filling 8 all the way. And Vitaly making a final dive right into the door of the Mustang out front. Exciting first half of the third place battle here. Last and final podium position up for grabs here. Round number 5. Alan will want to get as many points as he possibly can. Again, just 44 points separating 1st through 7th before this round of competition. Down the hill now. There you see Alan leaving 8 just a little bit early. Really good line here in the final turn. Almost being pushed across that finish line from Vitaly. Nice job. So they'll turn around. Vitaly will now lead Hines. Lights count down. They turn blue and they're off. Down the short run up, going for that Manji initiation. Is Vitali working his way out to that next outside zone. Right along the bumper is Allen, and quickly onto the door, almost making contact there. Big transition. Oh, and oh my goodness, I don't know how contact wasn't made there from Allen Hines. They continue on. Last and final turn, going a little bit wide as Vitali crossing that finish line. My goodness gracious, let's take another look. Allen diving a little bit to the inside on Vitali Asov. Sacrificing a little bit of line there in that chase position is Allen through turn number 1. Down the hill now a little bit as well, but holds on to insane proximity. There's the big dive. And that final transition. My goodness. Do we have a third place winner here for round number 5, our last podium position here for Ahvenisto race circuit? Allen on the left, Vitali on the right. That's cap, Steven. Castelletto is off the chain. I do love this. I really like this layout. It's very, very tricky. I can understand people not being necessarily a fan of it, but when it all comes together, it is a lot of fun. Elevation changes, the little awkwardness between 6 and 7. Oh, we have a decision. Comes down to Carl. Does he go left? Does he go right? He goes right. Vitali Asov takes third place here for round number 5 at Ahvenisto race circuit. Fantastic job from Vitali. Fantastic job from Allen Hines as well. But we've got our final battle coming up next. It's going to be Daniel Andreev and Cameron Mustard. Daniel Andreev will lead first as he qualified 7th. Cameron Mustard battled his way all the way through yesterday's last 16 qualifying battles. He finds himself here in the finals against Daniel Andreev. They're at the line, ready to go. We're all ready as well. Lights are on and they're off. Good initiation. Round that inside clip. Cameron trying to chase him down here. Making a small little dive. Heading on out to 6 now. Bumper to bumper through that transition. And Cameron falls back a little bit. Trying to reel him back in. Struggled a little bit here with Allen as well. Makes the final dive here. Trying to match the line and angle from Daniel Andreev out front. Take another look. Yes, absolutely. Will get posted after today's event. Here's a teeny tiny little update I need to do. Got a little something on the texture on the divider line. Nicely done here down the hill. Filling all of 8. Very good lead out front from Daniel. Not really a whole lot to take away from it. But definitely a couple of little things here and there from Cameron Mustard in that chase position. They're back at the line, ready to go. Second half of their finals battle. Cameron Mustard out front now. Daniel to give chase. Do we have the underdog story going wide of that first inside clip, getting to 3 a little bit early, makes 4 work, but then we have contact from Daniel Andreev in that chase position, takes some angle out of Cameron Mustard, And now heading down the hill, super aggressive from Daniel Andreev once more. Final dive there in that chase position as well. Good line here, heading on out to the final outside zone and across that finish line. Take another look. Maybe for the last time. One. Definitely wide of that inside clip, which puts him early there for 3. Really good job on 4. And there, a big dive from Daniel Andreev, knocking Cameron Mustard offline, and Cameron doing a really good job to make it look clean. Cameron almost a little bit too far on the inside of that reference point, leaving 7. Now filling the last and final outside zone. Do we have a winner here for round number 5, season 10, Ahvenisto Race Circuit? It's Cameron Mustard on the left, Daniel Andreev on the right. And there it is. Daniel Andreev does get the win over Cameron Mustard, but I'll tell you what, Cameron Mustard battled his way through a very, very tough bracket, all the way from the last 16 qualifying battles as well, and found himself in today's finals. Absolutely insane. Good on him. He takes home 2nd place anyway, and they should be coming back up for their 3-man here. Could be Vitaly in 3rd, be Daniel Andreev, Cameron Mustard, and Vitaly Asov. Here they go. A little bit wide, probably helps him out there. Nicely done. This is gonna be tough here. Can they make it work? Down the hill now. Great transition. Good job to finish it out. So again, a very, very fun event today. Yesterday as well. The track ended up working out very nicely. Definitely had to make a couple of edits here and there, but when I say edits, it's literally just adding those rumble strips in. No textures were touched. Jasu really did a fantastic job making this track. Last update to it was all the way back in 2020 as well, so like 6 years ago, and it still looks like this. I think I adjusted the grass and the extensions, but other than that, thing was made off LiDAR, made from scratch as well. We really appreciate it being posted and being able to use it for our layout. Maybe some more layouts in the future on it as well. No, Drift Masters will be going here. They will not be, as far as I know, they will not be doing the layout that we just did. It's hard to get fans in this area as well. I felt no point in putting stands in anywhere. There's a newly paved area over by the pits that I think they will be doing. I think it's their national layout. But big shout out to our judges today as well, Chris, Ed, and Carl. Dion in the background working those names and graphics and stuff like that for me. And Cages running that semaphore, running that start line, keeping all the drivers in check, bringing them up to the start line when they need to, and keeping the event flowing. Has been fun. Our sponsors and partners as well, our official title sponsor, Sim Magic. Absolutely the best bang for your buck in the game, and I kid you not. Grip Royal. Also being with our original sponsor as well, Grip Royal. Shout out to you, Scott. We certainly appreciate you making steering wheels for the winners each season, hooking us up with some staff wheels as well. Greatly appreciate it. Very small company, Grip Roll is, out of Memphis, Tennessee, and they should definitely be shown some love. Very good quality steering wheels out of them. They've got a couple of sim wheels that are cheaper as well. and some other adapters if you may need those as well. Joko Design, he makes all the track objects I get to use to build these layouts that I hope y'all enjoy. Orthan Designs, also joining us last year or the year before. He helped us out with a lot of the kits on those 5.0 public cars. Geronimo doing stuff in the background for us for this season. We'll maybe reveal it later. And then Ali Yusuf making the whole bracket and everything work for us. Absolute genius and very, very nice guy, Ali Yusuf. We appreciate everyone. I appreciate all of y'all for tuning in today. I hope I kept everyone as entertained as I could have. My voice will probably be murdered for the next couple of days, but it was all worth it. Tanner just couldn't show up. A little bit of a late notice as well. The ice race was on at one point, then it was off, and then it was on, and then it was on, and it ended up happening. So he went and did that. Totally understandable, because we do all of this for free. We don't charge our drivers, and we don't charge any of you guys. Trying to keep Assetto still fresh and keep it going. So again, we'll post the track later on today. I definitely gotta go get some food in my system, but we'll see everyone back in 3 weeks for our finals. Have a good one.